Welcome to On The Go. I am super glad you're here in this episode. I am heading right now to pick up my good friend AlejAndro Anastasio. And I've had Alejandro on the podcast, I think 2 times, and he's talking about the things that he's doing in the world. You know, he runs onehandspeaks.com. And I'm going to give you a little background of what Alejandro does and who he is. And for this, you probably want to sit down, because I don't know that I know someone who does so many things at a deep level more than Alejandro. So I met him when I practiced Aikido. He ran the dojo, 3 Shapes Aikido, and that was, maybe 12, 15 years ago. It was a chunk of time ago. But he was the sensei. He owned the dojo, and he ran that dojo. So that's where I met him. But he is really a phenomenal human being, and in this episode I want to dive in and see if he will share with us, and we can get a handle on how he does so many things at a deep level, because a lot of us struggle to just do a few things at a deep level, or one thing at a deep level. Let's just call it what it is, one thing. But Alejandro is a 3rd degree black belt in Aikido. He is a professional graphic design artist. He's given 2 TEDx talks. He is a Toastmaster practitioner. You know, he participates in the Toastmaster. And not only that, but he went to the World Championship of Public Speaking in Malaysia. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Huge. He's also, of course, ran his own business, 3 Shapes Aikido. He is an artist. In addition to being a graphic artist, he's an artist of many different mediums. Really a phenomenal human being. And again, I'm just scratching the surface to the things that he's done. He's just done a lot of amazing things. And in this episode, I want to kind of get to the heart at how he does that. You know, have him share some of the insights with us. So I'm really excited to have him as a guest in the show here. So we're going to go pick him up here in a minute and see what he has to say. What's going on?
Hey.
Good to see you.
All right.
How's it going?
Good. What's happening?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Mark.
Let's get your seatbelt on first, and then and get you mic'd up so people can hear what you got to say here. So how's the Saturday treating you?
So far, so good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
How about a pit stop at the post office? We'll drop this off in the mail.
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right around the
That's
corner.
the nice thing about being on the go here, right? You can just get some things done, right?
You can take care of stuff.
You know it.
Nice. So our little shout out for the GoPro.
I did a introduction of you on the way down.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
Anything
tried.
I should know?
I just told him. I said, you do more things at a deep level than anyone I know.
Thank you.
And I said,
Appreciate that.
we're going to ask you what's your secret? You know, I told him. Let's recap. So I told him, 3rd degree black belt in Aikido, owned your own martial art dojo,
I did.
3 Shapes Aikido,
Yep.
professional graphic artist, professional public speaker, 2-time TEDx speaker, and attended the World Championships of Public Speaking in Malaysia.
Yeah, made semifinal round, Toastmasters.
I mean, come on. What am I leaving out?
Well, I take care of my mama.
You take care of your mama at a high level, deep level too. Yes, of course. How could I leave that out, right?
Sure, that's like actually the most important.
It is.
Yeah, it's all right. Ain't no thing.
You know, so I don't think we've ever talked about this. I also said, you've been on the podcast 2 times before, and I don't think we've ever really touched on this. I mean, I think tangentially you've mentioned, but what is the secret? How do you do it?
Hey, I was born like this. I was born like
That's
this.
fair.
I get it all done single-handedly.
You ready to rock?
I think, you know what, Mark? I think so much of it has to do with understanding the power of our thinking.
Yeah.
And, also just maximizing who we are, right? I mean, as much as I do, there's people that do 10 times more than me. In a weird kind of way, for sure. And then, I work on the things that I'm good at. And
It seems like you're good at so much, though.
Well, it seems that way.
Do you choose the things you're good at, or do you gravitate?
Well, okay, all right.
Like, have you ever sucked at something?
Yeah, quite a few things.
When you started the Aikido,
Well, all of it. I think whenever you start something, you're not that good. You might have a natural inclination for it or a natural affinity for it, but anything you start new is going to be a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, but like something I suck at, singing.
You sing?
I sing.
Yes, I should know this. You know what? I left out the whole theremin, music.
Yeah, performance art. Yeah,
See, that's the thing with you. I can't keep. I can't.
Yeah.
The bio would be 10 minutes long. I mean,
Sure. Yeah, no, I was with the Red Light Variety Show, one of the founding members.
How could I forget that?
Yeah, I might even do a little performance towards the end of this year. I was asked to come back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. I was going through the list of things that I'm okay, I want to touch on all these, but I knew I would leave a chunk of things out.
I do a little bit of music. You want to get in this lane.
Yeah.
I'm more of an artist that makes music. I don't claim to be a musician.
Okay.
But I'm a terrible singer. However, I do sing on stage, and I've gotten a standing ovation for terrible singing.
Terrible singing.
Yeah. Just because it's more slapstick. I do a little vaudeville, and it's supposed to not be so good. So I'm really good at not being good.
You really?
when it comes to singing. Okay. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So you've sucked at things, but you still stick with it. I mean, because I think, again, like I said, before you stepped in, so many people have trouble getting good at one thing. I think the thing with you is that, how do you stick with the thing? Do you have a deep desire to do all these things at a high level, or do you just want to experience a lot of stuff? I mean, what's the...
Well, that can be a slight paradox. Because sometimes if you're good at a few things, it's hard to choose which one you want to really devote your time to, like really engage in. And then sometimes even on the higher end, sometimes that's not always successful for whatever that means. Right, and usually success refers to either finances or fame. Then both of those things run together in most cases, right? But let's take Aikido for a great example. I'm a pretty good Aikidoist.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of appreciation, and people have said a lot of great things. But that doesn't mean, that I can make a living at it, or that my dojo is necessarily successful on a certain level. I mean, I think it was very successful for 10 years.
Sure, yeah.
I took care of a lot of people. I got 7-8 people up to black belt. I made a difference in the community. I did all that. But in the end, the economy crashed. I lost basically,
You were kind of caught up in the thing, that bubble that a lot of people got caught up in.
Yeah.
What, had that not happened, there's a high probability we would still have that dojo, would you think?
Quite possibly, yeah. Probably under, running a school differently. But, most likely I'd probably still live there.
Yeah.
And, but, okay, so, just because I'm good at Aikido doesn't mean it necessarily works as a business.
I guess that's the other, side of the coin, but still... just the fact that you do so much at a deep level, and I just
if we're just talking
really
about,
amazing to look at, to watch, to see do these things at a high level. It's inspiring, is what it is.
Yeah. I appreciate that, and and in a real way, that's the payoff. That it can inspire people. Of course, trying to make more money at it is an important aspect, but. It can be, it's a thing. When we think about success, it's not just, it can't just be a financial thing, because I think there's ways to be successful at ways people don't want.
Sure, that may not provide the financial.
Well, it may not provide the kind of the sense of satisfaction that most humans are searching for in life. Right? Yeah. It's hard to fill that hole with cash.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, hopefully you do something well and you can make a little money at it. I think being successful just means that you find something that you enjoy to do, and you can spend the majority of your life doing it.
I would certainly agree with that.
I think that's a very successful aspect. But it was interesting. It was interesting running the martial arts school. But financially, I struggled with that a lot. It was very, very challenging for those 10 years to really make any kind of cash. And the whole time I had it, I worked part-time.
Right, you still were working. And we've talked about that before, just because of the niche. Well, maybe it's an Aikido thing or a martial arts.
Well, yeah,
studio.
there's just
I think a lot of them.
A lot of them can, it's just sometimes a lot of them do well also, but I don't know if I can do certain things to make it run a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm certainly not going to lower my requirements to make it easier for people to advance.
No.
Things of that nature. But there's a lot of successful people that have very high requirements, and it works.
Yeah.
Right? It works.
And also, I don't, not necessarily to put Aikido or martial arts under the bus, because I think a lot of small businesses, heck, a lot of them struggle. A lot of them, as far as getting to that level of where it's very, very successful. So I don't think it's necessarily. I think it's just a business thing to a large degree.
No, it's basically a business thing. And there's people that are really good at business can't run a business.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there's people that never thought they'd run a business.
Yeah. I love listening to entrepreneurs talk about their, and this could be a whole other conversation, talk about their experience, what they learned, what they didn't learn, what their expectations going in versus what it really
Sure. Now, I know Sensei mentioned something a while back. He's one of the Krakens of Aikido. He trained with the founder of Aikido, and he said sometimes you gotta work the things that you're good at, even if you don't like them so much. So, maybe you're a great piano player, but you don't really want to, have a profession or excel in the piano, but maybe you should do something on the side with it if you're good at it.
Yeah.
If you're good at it. And then, it's just sometimes we want to be successful at things we're not really that good at. And of course we can learn to be better at it and things of that nature. But I think really when it comes to doing well as a human, you have to work at it. I have spent a lot of time refining my chops in a lot of different areas, and even being a professional graphic designer, I still want to put more time training and practicing in there. And of course, as a martial artist, I trained 4 hours, taught people 4 hours a day, trained for hours a day.
Yeah, that's the deep commitment that I see. I don't think a lot of people see that backside of it. They just see the results that you're getting.
Oh, sure.
The deep level.
Well, yeah. When I watch professional basketball, I don't see all the work they put in. I just see them playing basketball and make a big scratch. But I think we want to keep in mind certain things. I think there's more. This is my personal belief. I think there's more there's more talented people that are not successful than there are talented people that are successful. Right. So, I think there's a lot of great basketball players out there, but there's only so many slots.
That's true.
Right. And
that's true.
Just because you're good, musicians are a great example. There's a lot of great musicians out there that don't do well. Yeah. I think there's more than there are.
It does seem to be almost like a roulette or a roll of the dice as far as take the talent. And also in actors and actresses too. A lot of beautiful people out there struggling to make it happen. That's
a lot of talented people.
Out there.
Yeah. So it's an interesting combination. I think when we're talking about what it takes to refine yourself as a human is one thing, to hone your skills and to develop discipline, to develop diligence. I just think it takes a little bit of work if you're going to hone yourself as a person and to cultivate discipline and to cultivate diligence and to really understand kind of the capacity of our thinking. I believe people underestimate the power of thinking. And, my whole thing is the disabled body, the one-handed thing is not so much of a thing. It's more about having a strong mind, having strong thinking. Because again, I like to say that I see that there's more, I see a lot of people that have less parts doing great things. And I see a lot of people with all their parts and full capacity. It's a very delicate thing to say. Like they have all their faculties. They see well, they hear well, they taste well, their body functions well. But then they just don't have any motivation, right? And they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in their ability to increase their capacity, right? And I think that's you want to talk about disabled. Right?
Well, that goes back to your talk, one of your TEDx
talks. First one, disabled thinking.
Huge.
Yeah. I'd rather have a disabled body than disabled thinking. On the one hand, it's not so bad. I like it. 50% off all manicures.
You work it.
You got to work it. And then, but the other aspect of that is that that I understand the nature of the power of my thinking. And what I really work on is increasing that power. And by default, it expands out into all other things.
Hey, I want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of On the Go and checking out Alejandro. I very fortunate. I'm really fortunate to know a lot of awesome people, and Alejandro is no exception. And I'll put links beneath the description of this video so you can check out the podcast interviews that I had him on as a guest, and if that's something you're interested in. One of them, he's talking about his trip to China and Tibet, which he's actually going again this summer. That was a fascinating interview, talking about his visit to the Shaolin Temple and his deep affinity for some of those players in Kung Fu, Bodhidharma, and Hoi Ko, those type of cats. So if you're into that, if you're into Shaolin monks and hearing about the scene there at the Shaolin Temple, then you would definitely enjoy that, because he paints a really vivid picture of his experience there. So that's it. That's the end of this episode of On the Go. Thanks so much. Have an awesome day. And until next time, all the best. Health, wealth, and success. Bye-bye.